Please feel free to make this as engaging, as conversational as you'd like. So Eric queued up what, right? What are we going to show, why it matters? So I'm going to show you, first of all, where. And so I've already logged in here to the application. And under Utilities, I'm going to go to Launch. And I'm going to go to Dentilytics Enterprise, right? So it's easy to find. It launches. And I don't have to do any other sign-in. It already knows who I am, and it already knows what I have access to. And this is our UI. And in here, we're going to have what I'm going to refer to as the main menu on the left. And pre-built for us are going to be a series of reports and dashboards. And to start with, I'm going to show you a couple of the ones we built just as an example, just to show you some of the capabilities. We'll walk through those capabilities. But the key here is after that, I'm going to build a report. And I'm going to show you that you can make copies of these pre-built reports and then change them. Right, so on 3 levels, you have full control. You have the pre-built reports. If you don't want to spend a lot of time, you just have some key metrics that Eric and the team have said, oh, we think every client's going to want this. Here it is. You have the ability to create your own stuff from scratch if you want, or if you see something you like but you need to tweak it. Maybe you need a different date range. Eric likes the color purple, so you're going to redesign the entire thing to match his color scheme here. Those kind of changes are going to be quick and easy.
So one quick thing, Travis, for informational purposes, this is real data. This is a disguised PGID of someone we've had permission. Everything, all the offices are disguised, but this is real identified data.
Right.
A location client.
Yeah. So to start with, I'm just going to dig into my folders here, and I have this dashboard. I can right-click on it and just say Run it. And as it runs, for resolution's sake, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm just going to hide our main menu, but I can always find it again just by opening it up on the left. And here are just a couple of stats that we've come up with as examples of things you might want to see. But the important part, again, is we can swap out any components of these with other components, so you can take a dashboard like this and modify it to meet your specific needs. But just to run through a couple of what we have here, we've got a chart that's showing us the dollar value of scheduled versus actual production. The goal here being able to say, what did I expect to do? What did I actually do? And this is on a month and year basis. Now the neat part here is we've got some nice interactive capabilities. So if you only want to see scheduled or you only want to see actual, you can do that. We also have these nice interactive filters. So maybe you want to see this, but not for all 8 offices that we're looking at, but instead maybe just for 2 of those offices. So as you can do that, it'll update and refresh in real time. So you can play with these checkboxes and select which particular offices you want to look at. I did mention aesthetic changes here. So the charts themselves also have right-click capabilities. So here we can change the theme. I'm going to go with, we don't have the purple theme, but I'm going to go with primary hues, right? I want to move something away from the blue, or maybe even to be very bright, we can make them oranges and reds. And the neat part is with these interactive capabilities, we can do some very cool things like change sort order to look at the things maybe in different order than just say columns by date. Maybe we want to look at them by which month had the most value. And you can even flip the axes. So here, what we can do is now we have the months as different color bars, and we can look at the schedule on the left and the actual on the right. So you have a lot of capabilities very easily just from the output. And then the last piece of this is that we've set up some drill downs. So we've set this up when you click the title. It's going to launch a more detailed report here. So this is showing production by specific office. So it's breaking it out. The blue bars here are going to be Office 102, and the lighter blue, Office 103. And you see that's reflected from the filters we've selected. And then we can go down a 3rd level, and I believe this is going to look at it by by provider, sorry. So I want to say a lot of things very quickly. I want to pause there. I see a hand, yeah.
What's the underlying technology? Is that Tableau or something like that? Or?
So the underlying technology is an application called Exago BI. So similar to Tableau, one of the advantages, if you'll permit me, is that with Tableau, to really build these reports, you need to download their desktop application. Here it's all totally in line and it's all native in Dentilytics.
So can you create multiple dashboards?
Yeah, absolutely. So this list on the left here, these are just the ones we set up for this presentation, and that can be available to you sort of out of the box as standard reports and dashboards, if you will. But a user has access to create their own reports, and we'll talk over the different types. But here, dashboards are very easy to make. They're all drag and drop capabilities. Running through a few of the other charts and metrics on here just to highlight them. So we showed new patients by referral type, right? You want to know how are my patients coming into our office. And again, we broke this out by month so you can see the different referrals. You can, of course, also turn things on and off. So maybe you want to look at only certain type of, I want to look at my internet websites. And of course, we have those same interactive capabilities we talked about before. The other thing here that's interesting is as we hover our mouse over the chart, we can export this to other formats. Now, exporting the chart itself to Excel doesn't really mean a lot. So we've actually set this chart on the dashboard to export to Excel and show instead the underlying data. So here, I'll open up this Excel file for us. And you can see that we have the underlying data for the chart in our Excel file. So if we want to have these data dumps, not only do we get the nice visualizations, but directly from the dashboard, we can say, no, I want to, maybe print that to a PDF or send this to Excel so I can email it to someone, or probably not email in a HIPAA environment. But so that's a capability here. And the things to highlight here, of course, would be that we have nice conditional formatting, but these are all formatted and controlled by you as a user. So while these can come standard as part of the application, you can take these, and I'll show you in just a moment, make copies and then change them as you will. So maybe you say, oh, well, we have different types of patients, or we want this broken out by year instead of month. We can set that up and change those very easily.
Is there a way, like for the patient,
Mm-hmm.
we want to pull those patients' names to confirm?
To drill down farther to the patient itself? Yeah, so we could set, as part of those drill downs, we could set it to drill down to a report that shows that individual level of detail. Mm-hmm. If I don't, throw something at me. So here in this report, we've set up a pie chart to show us our outstanding value of claims by age. So we've grouped them into 30-day segments. And of course, we still have those same interactive capabilities. So here, maybe I want to show the pie chart, but only look at these 3 offices. And again, we've set up the drill downs to be on the title here, though that's controllable. And so this will show us the value of the outstanding claims by individual office. So it's showing us the stacked columns here for each office. And the color of the portion of the column is going to represent the age. But then drilling down one level further, it'll show this broken out by carrier. And it's so across the 3 offices, each carrier, the amount of value for their outstanding claims. And of course, all of these drill downs have those same right-click capabilities here, so we can change the type. Maybe you want to see these as bars instead of columns, for example, and any sort of visual effects. So here, again, we can change to something a little bolder in terms of color. So far, so good. Great. So now what I want to do is run through how you would build one of these. And the example we're going to do is we want to build a report that shows us the production by office by month. And to visualize this sort of mentally, what we want is down the left side of the report, we're going to show our different offices. Across the top, we want to show our months. And then where those 2 things intersect, we're going to show the total production. Right? So to do this, I'm going to go up to my plus button there. And I'm going to build what we call a crosstab report. And crosstabs allow us to build reports that expand both vertically and horizontally with data. And this wizard's going to walk us through how to build these reports. So what I'm going to do here is build under My Reports. I'm going to build Travis's production by office by month. Right. I just give it a name and I select a folder that I have access to. And then I'm going to go to my next tab. And this is where you find the data that you want to be able to access. And we've broken these into 2 folders. The top one is the one that we think you're going to get the most use out of. These are going to be very standard, very, very easy to use, sort of typical things. So here, it appears a little small on the screen. We have appointment summary, new patient referrals, new patients, outstanding claims, production and collection, total patient referrals, and total plan effective rates. Right, so these are some of the data sets that we think are going to be the most typically used. But then if you want something else, if you want more detail, we have a number of folders here with really all the data that's being collected in the application. So if you want to go deeper into something, these are going to be the easiest to use, sort of the most curated for you. But then you still have access to everything. So if you want to dive deep into data or look at specific sets, you'll have access to them here. So what we talked about was wanting the production by office by month. So I'm very simply going to drag and drop that category from the left menu here to the right to say I want to be able to use this as I build my report. The next tab here is going to allow us to set up filters, right? Do you want to see all of the data, or what do you want to include or exclude? And for this report, what I want to do is look at my I want to look at my transaction date, and I want to look between between the first day of the current year. Oops. Apologies there, a little bit of a misclick. And today. Right? And this filter menu is very capable, so we can group filters together, we can set up and or logic between different filters. We can even actually, if we want to, have a prompt, so when this report runs, you're prompted to say, which office do you want to look at? And you can select from a list of offices for a specific run of a report. So there's a lot of capability in here, but we're going to keep it very simple. So we're basically just saying we want to do this for this year to date. But the nice part is, by selecting these formulas on the right, these are dynamic. So we don't have to go back each year and update these reports. We don't have to worry about anything like that. It will update as it goes. So it'll make this today and this first day of the current year calculation as the report's being run. And then the last tab here on the right is going to be our layout tab. And this is where we're going to design that cross-tabulation. And this may look a little scary, but don't worry, we're going to walk through it. It's all easy drag and drop. And so the first thing we want is we want to see the rows turn into the offices, right? And to do that, we simply grab office name, and we're going to go to this first space here. It may appear a little small on the screen, but it says row header source. So that's what rows do you want? So that's going to be our offices. For our columns, we want the month. So I'm just going to drag month headers, the transaction month over. And then where those two things meet, so for each office, for each month, I want to look at my production. Right? And really, that's it. At this point, we can hit finish, and we've built our crosstab. But I want to do a few small things. In the options, I want to add grand totals. So I'm just going to add these here to the bottom and the right. And you'll see this interactive preview appear down below. I also want to, I don't like this saying transaction month. I don't think when you see January, February, March, you don't need someone to tell you, hey, those are months, right? So I'm just going to take off the label there. And then the last thing is I'm going to choose from a theme. And this will give the crosstab a little bit of color and style as we go. And then I can hit finish. When I do that, it builds out my report. It has the title I gave it earlier. To attempt to be a little cleaner here, I'm going to take my name off of it. But this is a very easy to use grid. So if we don't like some of the color and style of this theme, or we want to add labels up above to say what's going on here, we certainly can. But at this point, I'm just going to run the crosstab. And you'll see it'll come out for me, January, February, March, right? And so these are my offices and across the top. Any questions there? It's now saved under this folder that I specified, right? So here's my report. So if I wanted this as part of a dashboard, I could go and add a new dashboard, for example. And I can simply drag it from my main menu over here to the right. And I can move it around. I can give it borders. I can add those interactive filters we were talking about before. So if I wanted those checkboxes by office, I can say add this filter item from my toolbox, give it control, and specify what it should work on.
So that updates every night automatically?
So the data behind the scenes will update as you run the report. It'll come off the nightly data, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I can make a chart. I don't have a report set up here to do that. I would want to build a report from scratch for you, but I can show you.
Convert this into some more graphical.
Yeah, so running through that actually, let me circle back to that because I want to do one other thing first just to show you, right? So we talked about this list of this dashboard we showed before and how the reports on this dashboard are going to be part of a set of, if you will, standard reports that are just come in automatically. And in fact, for most users, those standard reports that are provided by Planet DDS will be what are called read-only. So you'll be able to run them, but you won't be able to edit those copies because those copies are going to be shared across a wide array of users. But what you can do is make changes to them. So you can duplicate them and make changes. So these are some of the reports we looked at. Here's our schedule versus production chart. All the outstanding claims with those drill downs. So we've built a number of these reports. But let's say you look at that crosstab we just built and you say, okay, this is cool, it's production, right? But I don't want to look at production, I want to look at the exact same thing, but I want collection where production was before, right? And I know I just saw Travis do this, so I could go through and design a new report, but this one looks almost exactly like what I want. So instead, what you can do is you can duplicate a report, give it a new name. So here, Travis collection, by office, by month. And again, I'm selecting that folder that I want it to live in. And now I have a copy of that report that I can make changes to. So here I can open up this wizard here and change that crosstab report to show me my collections instead. I'm just going to reapply that theme so it picks up the latest style. And now I have a copy of that report with my custom changes. And these changes, of course, I didn't change the title. So let me go back and easily say collection. And the reason I want to highlight this is because it's really key as you look at the standard reports that are available and you say, oh, I like that. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You can just take it and make those modifications you want, whether those are a simple filter, some visual effects, Eric wants everything here to be purple, or you want to change up some of the data showing on the report. Great.
What are my export options?
Yeah, so all of the reports can export to the HTML window you see here, giving you those interactive capabilities. And those include, one really neat thing is you can even do conditional formatting on the output. So for example, here I can highlight things that are less than 100,000, for example, right? So that's your first export, is when you hit the play button, it's going to export to an HTML window here. And then the reports can be export to Excel, PDF, RTF, or CSV. If you have a report, say that you don't want to make export to one of those formats, that's something you can actually control here by report. So you could set up a report that maybe only is supposed to export to Excel. That's very easy to do. Any other questions there? Yeah?
So we do a lot of reporting like the budget. So is there places where you could enter information and use that in your report, like a production goal to budget, that type of thing? And can you do calculated fields as well?
Yes, so great questions, right? So calculated fields, you can certainly do lots of types of calculations. So here, let's say you wanted to, so here, let's say we wanted, instead of adding collection, we wanted collection times 2. Pretty arbitrary calculation, but you could certainly do that. We have a robust formula editor with a large number of formulas that are available to you. So you can do arithmetic calculations, you can parse dates differently, you can do formatting and lots of things like that. So an easy example here would be, say, twice your collections. But if you wanted to do something where you looked at collection minus production, or compare fields, those are all very easy to do. So this would be collection times production, right? That's probably an arbitrary metric, but you can use that as an example. To your question on using input, I guess I would want to know a little bit more the use case of what you're looking for. In terms of entry, you can certainly put formulas here in cells as you design a report, and then you can make reference to them, so you could enter values there. But I'm not sure that's what you're looking for, so.
Let's say we'll set production goals by provider for the month,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and then we'll run production against those goals and then do a calculation more of the production goals. So we would want to set those goals up front, either by provider or office, whatever it is.
So you would set those, do you set those in Planet DDS today somewhere else in the application?
We do external reporting at this point.
External reporting.
But I'd like to do it all internal if we could.
Sure, absolutely. So I think I have some solutions for that, but I'd want to sort of have a sidebar and hear out exactly the specs of what you need.
I guess the basic question for us is that if the information is in Denicom, it's going to make that available as part of the comparison.
Mm-hmm.
But if the information is not saved in Denicom, is there any way to put user-defined fields inside, compare against data that's in Denicom?
Right. So there's a way to prompt for singular values. So if you had, say, a production goal and you wanted to compare that, right? There's a way for Denicon to set up a way to have that prompt available to a user. In terms of them entering their own, say, Excel sheet of data to report off of, we could talk about that a little bit more offline, but it's something that would require a little bit of setup from Denicon. Okay, so circling back, I did make the promise to build out your chart for you, so we'll do this on the fly. So this one I'm going to build as what we call standard report. These are going to be similar to crosstabs, but the columns won't expand dynamically. We're going to set them up as we go. But it's going to be the same process here, right? So here is a chart of production by office by month. No problem. Our categories, again, is going to be that list of data. And no surprise here, we want production by office, so we're going to use the production category. Here, crosstabs, because they expand in both directions, sorting is a little bit weirder. So here, because we're only looking at vertical data, we can sort and choose how we want to sort. So in this case, we want to sort by office and by month, right? Our filters, again, we want to look by filter date. So I'm going to use those same filters to look at only this year's data. Right, so first day of current year and today. And another thing I should mention here, that list of dates, if you guys have industry specific, like your office or your, if there's sort of general time periods that you use, this is a list that can be modified and built to. So you can have, my office has trimesters or something, right? You could actually build those in here. But then in the layout tab, I'm going to select what data I want. And because we're not building a crosstab, we're building a simple standard report here, we're just choosing fields to appear. So I'm going to say my office, my month, and my production, just like I did before. And in this case, I'm going to tell it that I want to summarize by month. And when it summarizes, I want it to total up the production, and I want to report at the end. So when I hit finish, instead of a crosstab appearing here, this is going to give me an Excel-like grid. And I'm just going to do a few quick changes here, delete a few things that I don't need. So to build your report, I'm going to add a few rows to build the chart here. I'm going to merge them together so that my chart has plenty of space to slide into. And what I have is a report that by month is going to show me the office, the month, and the total production for that month. And I'm going to add a chart here, just using our chart wizard. And this shows you all the different types of visualizations that are available. So we have your standard, like you were saying, line graphs and bar graphs, histograms, your standard pie charts and single series, and then some more particular ones. If you're very into stats and cause and effect visualizations, we have Pareto charts, spark lines and spark column charts, bubbles and scatters. You can also do things like multi-axis charting and combination charting where you overlay different metrics. But I'm getting a little technically deep, so.
I was just asking, the existing report that you made, can I just apply a chart wizard to that? The very first one you made?
Yeah,
So
certainly.
Excel, you can just boom.
Yeah, so you can. Sorry, I took that in a slightly different direction then. But we're almost done here, so it's pretty easy to do. So I'm just going to switch over here. So here, I just want to hook everything up to the chart. So tell it where the data comes from, what the label is, and the series. I can control appearance, but I'll just hit OK here. And as I run the report, it will show me this is my data, which I can hide and format as I choose, and then my chart down below by month. Right. So we built this pretty quickly on the fly. I could go back if I want to. I can use things like row suppression. This will still calculate those values, but it will hide them from the report, so it'll look a little nicer. I can make things bigger. I can change colors, do things like that. And it'll show me, in this case, now just my chart and maybe the grand total here. And I still have that interactivity I was looking at before. So again, I just want to pause. Are there any questions there?